Last time on Waifu's Most Wanted. Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content. Today we're jumping right back into rSlash NeckbeardStories because people seem to love it. I'll be honest, I basically love it myself as well. But today these stories are just disgusting. We are digging into the post history of a user named Ulysses Granted who actually dated a neckbeard and then was pursued by yet another neckbeard. Lie down with dogs, get fleas, I do suppose. Anyways, no judgment passed on her. Thank you so much for sharing these stories. And without any further delay, we are going to jump right into it. A brief history of PB, the COOMLORD. Oh my god, I'm cooming. Reading all your stories has made me revisit old memories. For better or for worse, I suppose. I was a cringy nerd in middle school. I moved around every 2 to 4 years because I was a military dependent, and this left me desperate for friends and acceptance, so I was bonded with those easiest to infiltrate. Outcasts, weirdos, edgelords, neckbeards, etc. You know the groups. I met some amazing friends I still have now this way, but we're all here for the weird shit. You damn right. The first main neckbeard that stands out in my mind is PB. PEEBEARD? We met when I returned from living overseas to attend college in the Midwest. I was staying in a rural town with my aunt and uncle and cousins for the summer until dorms opened, and my closest cousin introduced me to their neighbor a few miles away. Happy to know someone my own age, I worked hard to gain entry into the new friend group. Though they were burnouts, it was still nice to be accepted. PEEBEARD's appearance was, I guess, average for a 17 to 19-year-old. I was a year or two older, but not wise enough to avoid eventually dating him. Always in some kind of stained and raggedy Marvel PJ pants or old band or video game or anime shirt, he didn't dress or maintain himself well. Only showering every 2 to 4 days, it was still a mystery to me how his hair was always still noticeably greasy. He had bad skin. PEEBEARD was nice but emotionally manipulative and very talented at guitar. I fell prey to his suave musical charms and how much of a self-made man he was, living in his parents' remodeled shop/apartment for free and working for his dad a few days a week. He had zero aspirations. I think he was betting on being famous, and for a time it was a refreshing change of pace for me. To be young again. All-nighters playing video games and watching shit movies. My first time ever playing Fallout 4 New Vegas was here.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
We skinny dipped in a river in August. It wasn't all bad. There are some fun memories. Curiously, he wasn't an anime maniac and didn't have a waifu, just a reverence for old Toonami stuff that we both grew up on. His family accepted and adored me, the polite overachiever, and made it clear that I was always welcome. But PEEBEARD was a pig. Well, maybe it's PEEBEARD. I'm gonna stick with PEEBEARD. As the main hangout spot for 4 to 5 nerds / girlfriends / friends of friends, you can imagine that the place became dirty pretty fast. There were bugs, you couldn't walk barefoot because of all of the dirt and grime, and PEEBEARD thought it was funny to mix old foods in his fridge and leave it as a science experiment to grow. Guess who would eventually clean it all? Yeah. I spent so much time there that I would clean for them like a little French maid. Sometimes the guys would feel guilty and help for a bit. GRIZZ, an oversized regular, would help me when he was around. He had a crush on me, of course. Some of them called me Mom, even though we were the same age.
Come on, make me want to be your mom!
PEEBEARD had the worst luck with girls, and it's because he would fixate on one perfect, skinny, talented dancer that he dated in high school. Because he had it once, he obviously always deserved girls of this caliber, and didn't understand why they wouldn't stay with him long term. I'm remembering the briefest hint of possible statutory rape drama. I think her dad threatened to report him if he didn't stop seeing her, so not a good look. Dude, I'm sorry the love of your life didn't want to get married and live in your parents' converted garage at 15. Get over it. But yes, PEEBEARD and I eventually dated. I want to say for around 4 to 6 months. I recall being disgusted enough with his bed, a full size, that I brought my own pillow over. His was a different color, where his head would rest. Oh god. Remember when I said he was greasy? His bed, pillows, sheets, comforter, all bad, dirty. But his pillows were the worst. Saturated and dirty enough that it didn't matter how much you washed them, the oil discoloration just wouldn't come out. Like parking a leaky car on a driveway. Sometimes I would wake up with bug bites on me. Oof, I don't think it was bed bugs because it never followed me to the dorms, but who knows? It was gross, and I don't know why I put up with it. It was scabies, bruh. Well, he didn't have any fingerless gloves. He did wear the occasional fedora. He was an accomplished gate guard of media, and a favorite hobby of his was shit-talking other people's tastes in, well, anything. But especially music, to the point of insulting their intelligence. He always knew more and knew better and was happy to say so. He was the kind of arguer that would only stop when you called his shit. One of the friends I met through PEEBEARD was GRIZZ, who we'll be talking about later in this video. Bedroom activities were average, not really remarkable, except for one instance that has been seared into my brain. I can't remember most of my childhood or adolescence, but oh, I remember this. Fooling around alone in my dorm, I was going down on him. He'd come on his stomach, and I, ever the dedicated seductress, bent down to lick it clean. He'd try hesitantly to stop me with a half-hearted, "You don't have to do that." But I can't help but feel that he knew. He knew what was about to happen. I do my thing, and it's fine for the briefest of moments, but something isn't right. The consistency is wrong. But nobody likes a quitter, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Going for gold, OP. It was lumpy. His coom was lumpy? Jesus. Parts seemed older and more congealed than others, like clotting blood or spoiled milk globs. Oh, God. I'm struggling to describe this, but even with a strong stomach, I wanted to gag and spit it all back out. It was fucking gross, and I never did it again with him after that. I've also not encountered it since. We didn't talk about the incident, though I'm sure he knew what had happened. I gave him shit about his diet after this. Oh, I didn't mention yet, but you already know. Soda and fast food, with the odd meal with his mom and dad, was all that he ate. He grew bored the longer I was in college until it got to the point that he made no effort to see me at all. We didn't have any dates besides him occasionally paying for me at a nicer place than Taco Bell or McDonald's. I think he took me to Chick-fil-A once. I was okay with that, but mostly it did suck. This dude sucks all around. Eventually he broke up with me over text because he'd started talking to a girl who was still in high school and decided that she was the one for him. It sucked being the one broken up with, but whatever. At least you escaped. I was ecstatic to hear that she later had zero interest in him and rejected every advance. It's 10 years later, and he's still in the same spot, but I think somewhat more self-aware, living with an ex-girlfriend in a weird limbo situation for some reason. Anyways, part 2 will focus on GRIZZ, if there's interest. Thanks for sticking around and reading. I know exactly what happened, OP. I know why it was chunky. It had nothing to do with his diet, okay? I think he just is used to shooting it on himself and just leaving it there to dry. So what you had was probably the crumblies of past cooms mixed with the new coom. God. It's like, bro, it's not that hard after you finish watching your little anime porno session to just mop it up with a sock or whatever, dude. You're not gonna do any harm to your pillows or bed sheets. Just go for that. Like, why would you just leave it on yourself? Oh God, I feel so bad for OP. She went all in, you know. She was trying to go hard with this dude who, like, he's not worth going hard for. What the hell? But like I said at the beginning, to be young again. Jesus Christ. It also really gets me that, you know, she was the one to get broken up with, but, like, in the end, that doesn't really matter. At least you got out of this situation one way or the other. Because this was going nowhere fast. Super sad to read that, you know, he's 30 and basically still in the same spot, but like you said, zero aspirations. I mean, at some point maybe he'll go from like neckbeard to full incel and just stop harassing women at that point. But man, there's nothing on offer here. I can't see why any woman would ever interact with him. God, the description is just horrible. I can't get it out of my mind. We might need some eye bleach at the end of this episode. This is... I don't know if I can hang. All right, one more story. I'm gonna do it for one more story, and then I'm gonna get out of here after a bit of eye bleach as well. A brief history of GRIZZ, the bearded revengeancer. Last time on Waifu's Most Wanted. 1. A brief history of PEEBEARD, the COOMLORD. PEEBEARD, 19-ish, lives in parents' converted garage. Human grunge version of, anyway, here's Wonderwall. GRIZZ, 21. Mutual friend with a long-standing crush on me. Would treat me better than any other guy ever. Yep, totally. And now, for our feature presentation, GRIZZ. Gather round, plague rats. I'm about to share with you the legend of GRIZZ. Protector of maidens, and destroyer of curly fries. A regular visitor to the den of dirtiness, GRIZZ was a big guy. Big guy. When we met around 2009, he was pushing 325 to 350. By the end of our friendship, several years later, it was over 400 pounds, 181.4 kilos, 28.5 stone, if you will. As a self-styled Andre the Giant, he was obviously a strong man that just so happened to be trapped in a morbidly obese man's body. Tragic. Probably some kind of glandular wizard curse. While I don't normally care about someone's weight, I did not enjoy watching his slow suicide over the course of our friendship, and his physical characteristics are relevant to this story. Dang, got a lot sadder when you put it like that. With his imposing 5'10" figure as wide as it was tall, it was important to GRIZZ to maintain a teddy bear attitude, so that he didn't scare the frail womenfolk with his immense size and strength. He was always careful to keep his power level under 10% output, so that nobody would accidentally be snapped in half or eviscerated. This was an important part of how he viewed himself. Strong, intimidating, ferocious, dangerous when provoked, etc. While he wasn't quite, in all ways except physical, I am a wolf bad, he did have a bit of that attitude. Offering to protect me and punish any man who might offend me was a common occurrence when sharing my troubles. Obviously, I would have never survived in the real world without knowing that I had him to protect me. Like I had a bunch of family around or anything. So, the good knight GRIZZ admittedly was strong. I'll give him that. But you had to be to get around with his size. His strength was not the result of any kind of weight training that I'm aware of. He was simply blessed with it from birth by Odin or Hulk Hogan. On one occasion, I had to literally scold him like a child for trying to lift my car in a show of strength, because surely that would impress me and make me date him. I flipped your car over, now date me. The area he was grabbing on my car was all plastic and would have easily been damaged, so although the car did lift a bit, I nipped that exposition before he could make his point. This was likely on a late night outing to town after having a few drinks at PEEBEARD's place. I was usually designated driver because, you know, I didn't want to fucking die. GRIZZ and PEEBEARD had a duplicitous and competitive relationship. In a town that small, your friend selection is slim, and oftentimes you might feel forced to keep people in your life that you don't like just because it's better than being alone. In this way, they would chronically complain about each other to anybody who would listen. PEEBEARD would complain about his size, and GRIZZ would rip on PEEBEARD for being emo. Ironically, they each complained about the other's hygiene. Herder. They were both abnormally musically talented, doing both acoustic guitar and vocals, some messy drums added in post, and they recorded some okay songs together. Not bangers, but they did sound nice. If you were very quiet, you could hear them trying to outsing and outplay the other. Just kidding, that was like the unintended main feature of their music. Whenever one of them was on a roll, the other one would pipe up with, yeah, or to take the attention back when it wasn't planned in the lyrics. Think Kings of Leon and Never Shout Never style. Mentally torturing himself, GRIZZ had an ongoing inferiority complex centering around grungy PEEBEARD. In his eyes, PEEBEARD got all the girls and treated them like shit. PEEBEARD was more attractive, see average, had a private living area, and didn't have to work. GRIZZ had far less romantically interested parties and had to work many times harder to keep them. This sadly caused him to stay with a few toxic women while I knew him. I will not deny that he was a good listener and a kind friend, a proud fedora owner, and anime/game enthusiast. He did grow out of the fedoras over time. Because he got fat? Sorry. Sadly, his interest in my life was not wholly altruistic intent, but because he imagined I would eventually succumb to his masculine pheromones. Ooh. He was always in the same short-sleeved plaid button-up and cargo shorts. I imagine partially because clothes shopping was a chore. Understandable. I mean, I don't fault him for that. While the others claimed he had a smell, his hygiene seemed fine, but a bit musty to me at this time, where PEEBEARD was a bit more socially normal. Sad boy and Gur impersonator, raw enthusiast, chaser of jailbait, GRIZZ was just that little bit extra neckbeardy. Spike from Cowboy Bebop was his inspiration. He was both a neckbeard and a nice guy at the same time, set on doing gentlemanly acts that, although appreciated, were to me just basic manners. Yes, he did have a literal neckbeard. Most of the time that I knew him, he had a messy beard and mustache. I presume to disguise his weight, much like I wear pants to disguise the pale mood of my butt from enraging werewolves. Things were fine in our relationship and group dynamic, at least for a time. I'm just gonna interject and say he seems more white knight than nice guy to me, because nice guys usually have the little abusive flip once they're rejected, you know? This guy's like white knight through and through. Anyways, a while after PEEBEARD and I separated, I didn't see the group. I wanted space to lick my wounds and regain some self-confidence after being dumped by someone that I at least partially viewed as a loser.
Loser! You're a loser!
Awkwardness aside, while I wasn't welcomed back into the fold as before, they would tell me if they were coming to town or invite me to hang once in a while. Pity, maybe? Was I now a token pair of tits to them? I don't know. It was better than typing papers, at least. PEEBEARD would sulk and do real sad boy hours when I was around. You can imagine my surprise when one of the guys contacts me privately to ask if the rumor was true. Rumor? What rumor? The rumor that I had slept with GRIZZ. I laughed it off, but corrected him sternly. No, I did not sleep with GRIZZ. I am not remotely attracted to GRIZZ. Where did you hear this? You see where this is going, right? I guess GRIZZ thought that he could get some cool points with the boys by lying about my sexual promiscuity. Maybe he was feeling left out? I don't know. The fucker had to have known that I would find out eventually, so I confronted him. He admitted to lying and apologized. Groveled a little bit. The part that irked me is that not long before, I had helped him to get petty revenge on his ex by going with him to pick up his things and acting like we were a couple. It was clear that this was just done as a favor. I did him a solid and this is how he repaid me? Oh, he was a nice guy after all. After that settled down, I was preparing to move again to a different state to continue college. GRIZZ seemed desperate to spend time with me before I left, and we'd texted frequently. I don't remember how it came into the conversation, but we were both interested in BDSM. Dropping me off at the place I was staying after a friendly lunch, he offered to dom for me, so I could de-stress. I don't blame him for trying, I guess, but I was obviously not interested at all. I declined and blamed a recent breakup instead of the truth, which was being disgusted just by the thought. I've never liked confrontation, and I see now how the answer could have been interpreted as maybe another time. Over the next few years, he delved into polyamory with his new long-term girlfriend, often complaining to me about how she always had more attention from partners than he did. More than once, he complained to me about being stood up or ghosted by prospective subs. How everything was going perfect, and nudes were sent, and texts were steamy, right up until they met in person. I should have been honest and called him out on his catfishing. I'd seen his profile, all MySpace angles.
I've got the MySpace angle going on right here.
And photos of the chin and up only. I compromised and helped him rewrite his dating profile, with a bit more emphasis on his, size. Our friendship came to an end 2 years ago when he got drunk and confessed his love for me, begging me not to tell my husband or his girlfriend I was his one that got away. It just didn't sit right with me, and I explained that it was wrong. Told my husband too. I blocked GRIZZ after that, and I have not regretted it. I'll rack my brain tonight for anything else that I can remember, but what I haven't covered is mostly his health problems and neckbeardness/lifestyle. Anyways, thanks for sticking it out again with me. Happy quarantine, everybody. And luckily, no lumps this time. Thank God for that. Whew, well, at least that second story wasn't as bad as the first one. My God, I don't know how anything could be. But enjoy some eye bleach. Here we go. Oh, soothing. Yes. I gotta feel kind of bad for GRIZZ in the end. You know, he's just kind of like a lost little puppy dog, maybe. I mean, not little. You know what I'm talking about. He seemed relatively harmless up until the end there, where he's like, you know, lying about sleeping with people, which that's never cool to do. What is wrong with you and your brain? But he didn't get as rapey as some of the other neckbeards that we've seen around, so I guess I have to be thankful for that. I think it's cool that he was able to find connections with people based on his music and stuff. You know, he's not like a forever alone neckbeard. He was at least able to have some relationships and stuff like that, even if they weren't, you know, as often or whatever as he wanted. I think the real lesson here is just be grateful for where you're at. Be thankful for what you got, you know what I mean? And on top of the rest of that, just stay honest. Like, you can't go out and catfish people and be like, oh, it turns out they weren't interested in me at all because I'm fat. Well, yeah, dude. If you just told them that you're fat, then, you know, your profile pic will do the work for you. Some chicks are into big boys, and some aren't. And that's okay. Let them filter themselves out. You know what I mean? I've been catfished a few times, though. I get it, you know. Everybody wants to feel wanted, but that doesn't make it right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for making me feel wanted. We are now up to 1,100 subs. An additional 100 subs in the past 5 days. I am blown away, you guys. Super, super awesome. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. It is just massive in keeping me motivated. If you haven't yet, then follow me on Twitter or Discord or Patreon. We can hang out a little bit more, you know, if you want to get to know the real ReddX/Dayton does. And as always, I'd like to give a big shout out to my Patreon subscribers who are all hanging out in the Discord. We got Damon Darkstar, Lady Nix, Crimson Albedo, Dot Nathan, Robert Waits, Just Austin, and the big Barlos Bugo. I definitely appreciate you guys for helping me to supplement the costs of running this channel. By which I mean, I still need a new computer. I'm saving up for a new computer. But it is a necessary evil, you know? So if you can help out, then I would encourage it. And if you can't, don't you worry. I'm gonna keep bringing you the content. And I thank you so much for making a space for me in your day. I hope that you keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, and you know what? Do something that you enjoy today, because you definitely deserve it. You are worthy, you are loved, and I will see you in the next one, friends. So until then, bye-bye.